Isaac Newton figured out gravity while sitting in his mother's garden during the plague. He was 23. The university was closed. There was nothing to do. He spent almost 2 years staring at the countryside, mostly bored. In that time, he worked out the basics of calculus, optics, and universal gravitation, 3 of the most important ideas in the history of science in one boring stretch. He later wrote that this period, when he was in the prime of my age for invention, happened because he had nothing else to think about. Darwin worked out natural selection during long walks. He built a specific path at his house, the thinking path, and did the same loop alone for hours a day. No book, no conversation, just walking. Einstein spent 7 years as a patent clerk with a job so slow he had entire afternoon with nothing to do. He solved special relativity in those afternoons. Nietzsche did his most important work during hours-long walks in the Swiss Alps. He said explicitly that his ideas came from being outside, alone, with nothing to occupy him. You can find this pattern everywhere. Not always with walks, sometimes with baths. This specific may vary. The state doesn't. Every one of them had daily access to a state modern people don't have anymore. This state has a boring name, mind-wandering, or, in older language, boredom. This is the condition where nothing is happening, no inputs is coming in, and your mind is free to roam wherever it wants. The people who produce the ideas we still live inside had this state constantly, every day. We have almost none of it. This is a real change and it happened fast. 1 generation ago, most people had a lot of free time throughout their day. Now, every minute of that free time has something in it. Message, podcast or video. The time still exists. It's just full now. I want to be careful about the claim I'm making. I am not saying you can't focus, or that phones are ruining your brain. Both of those framings are common and unfalsifiable. I'm saying something more specific. The people who did the deepest thinking in history all had access to long, uninterrupted periods of doing nothing. And modern life has eliminated those periods almost entirely. You can measure this. There is a pattern of brain activity called the default mode network. It turns on where you're not focused on a task. It's central to memory consolidation, self-reflection, and creative insight. The default mode network activates during boredom. It stays quiet during scrolling. That is not a spiritual claim. The brain state that produced Newton's calculus and Darwin's evolution and Einstein's relativity is a specific neural pattern, and that pattern is triggered by exactly the kind of boredom we now eliminate before it can start. So when does your mind get to enter the state where the important thinking actually happens? For most people, the honest answer is never, or once a week, in the shower. The consequences of that aren't dramatic. Nobody is dying from lack of boredom. But if you feel like you haven't had a real insight in years, the reason might not be that you're getting older or dumber. It might be that you no longer spend any time in the state where insights arrive. I want to say what I actually do about it, because saying it without doing it would be dishonest. I walk for at least 30 minutes a day alone with no phone or headphones. I do this because I have noticed that on days when I do it, ideas arrive. On days I don't, they don't. That is the whole practice, nothing mystical. You won't become Newton. But you might notice that thoughts start coming back. These things do not come from more input. They come from less. The state we eliminated was not wasted time. It was the state where mind did what minds are actually for. And it is possible to get it back. Not by practicing mindfulness or productivity hack. Just leave some of your time empty. Long enough that boredom actually arrives and does the thing it was always doing.